Light. We are on episode number 48, and today we have co-authors Mark and Justine Perloe, who are cousins. And I think you live on opposite coasts, don't you?
Yes, we do.
Okay. So Justine is on the East Coast with me, and Mark, are you in California?
Yes, I'm in California with our grandkids.
Okay, wonderful. My grandchildren, the youngest one, who's only a few months old, is not too far from me in Nashville, but the others live in Iowa, so quite a ways away. So it would be nice to see them more often. So, and am I right in thinking that it's your grandchildren who inspired the book?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is. They are 4 and 8 at this point, and it was really the result of one day when they were over at our house visiting. The younger one was sitting in the chair and kind of sulking that no one was paying attention to him, and his older brother was a bit loud. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, so he got all the attention, and Rocky was just kind of sitting there. So I went to him and I let him know that his smile was his superpower. And I was amazed how he quickly accepted that and felt proud that someone had recognized his superpower.
And so how did you get from that to writing the book that you both wrote together?
Well, I came up with an outline, and I realized that I'm really not the expert in kids. You know, raising kids has passed me by in generations. So I had an excellent resource in Justine, who really enjoyed spending time even on opposite ends of the country with the kids and sharing some activities with them. And we figured, you know, we could work together. We kind of used her students as a test, if that's okay, and sharing the story.
Yes, I did read
help
it.
see that it worked.
Right. And
they loved
Justine, you work with second graders, right?
Yes.
Okay. How long have you been doing that?
This is my 6th year. So
okay, so you're not entirely new to it, but not a seasoned aging teacher either. I taught music lessons privately for 32 years.
Oh wow, cool.
And yeah, and I really loved it. I did teach in a school, so I spent 2 years as a volunteer directing the band, and then 3 years they actually hired me to run the music department. And I really, really enjoyed that a lot. So, you know, it takes a certain type to spend all day with kids.
Not easy.
Yeah. Well, it was funny, getting a little off topic. I subbed once for the kindergarten teacher. That was the hardest week of my life. Those kids have, oh my gosh, they have so much energy. And nap time was the worst. I thought, this is going to be great. They're all going to lay down for half an hour or whatever it was. No, it was like whack-a-mole.
I wish we still had nap time.
Go back to bed. No, nap time for me, I found it really hard because they just kept popping up, and I have to go to the bathroom, and I have to, but that was a fun week. I enjoyed all of them. So anyway, you got from the book ended up relating to kindness and teaching kids about kindness, right? And did that also spring from something that happened with Rocky, or did that kind of get worked in for other reasons?
Mark, you take that one.
Okay. I think that normally if the kids feel left out, they don't have the skills to manipulate the situation and get what they want. And I wanted Rocky to see that using his smile and his silliness, he could entertain people, and the kind way to solve a problem was going to be a lot easier and work better for him than the other ways. I told him that it was very important that as he got older, that he didn't forget about having this superpower and
Mhm.
remembered that he could get things that he wanted more by using the smile and laughter. Just
Mhm.
one story about that. One day he came over to visit and he brought the robot vacuum, and he walks in carrying this robot vacuum out in front of him and runs into our bedroom where we had a robot vacuum. And he said, he didn't want to leave her at home so that she was lonely, and he wanted them to play together. So he starts
That's
both of
cute.
them,
Uh-huh.
brings us back into the bedroom and says, Grandpa, they're dancing. And at that point, if he wanted a car, if he wanted a college education, whatever he had asked for, he would get.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I wanted him to understand that lesson and hopefully remember it.
Yeah. And so how long has it been since this happened? I
It
mean,
was
since
earlier
you
this
told
year.
him. Okay,
Earlier
so
this
it's
year.
fairly recent. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And does the lesson seem to have lasted so far?
Uh, Pretty much so. It's interesting that I think when he is being silly, both of them, when they are being silly, they relate to each other,
Mm-hmm.
and there's less stress than when I want this or I want that.
Yep. Yep. And that's such an important lesson. My son and his wife, they're raising such nice kids, and that's so important. And they're raising kids to think about others and, kind of look out for their little sister. She's, what year is it? She's about to turn 4 in a couple months. So not my youngest, his youngest is 4, like Rocky is. So, I do have for a drink hot fudge and milk. So we're going to see if hot fudge makes good chocolate milk. I've never done this, so I don't know. Now, I was kind of curious when I went to get my Books and Brews mug to make this, it still had Coke in it, just a little bit. And I remembered that somewhere in the distant past, I had a friend who mixed, oh no, this was Laverne and Shirley, wasn't it? She mixed Pepsi and milk.
Oh,
You've never heard of that?
no.
Okay. I think that's something kids are more likely to do. I looked at them and said, I'm not going to do that to my inside. So I don't know.
Yeah, kids make, as a
Hmm.
teacher, I see all the crazy combinations they make at lunch. Like, oh, I
Uh-huh.
would not eat. But yeah,
That's
they
funny.
will put Pepsi and milk together. Absolutely.
Yeah. My husband, now we like our fine dining. We like steak tartare and oysters. But then he'll come home and he's like, I want macaroni and cheese with ketchup on it. Are you the
All
same
about
person?
balance.
So that's
Yes,
I'd skip the ketchup, but you will bake something like work with the kids and make ravioli, homemade ravioli or pasta, and they just want mac and cheese.
uh-huh.
Mac and
Yeah.
cheese is the go-to.
That's so typical of kids. Yeah. I've we had some surprise pumpkin patches that we didn't plant. So we've had pumpkins coming out our ears. So I've been looking for a ton of recipes to make with pumpkins.
Oh, wow.
And pumpkin ravioli was one of them.
Yes.
So I was going to ask, how was the co-writing experience? How did you two work that out?
So I feel like we FaceTimed a lot.
Mhm.
And luckily we're kind of in a habit of FaceTiming. I would always FaceTime the kids.
Mhm.
So luckily we kind of just followed like the same trajectory. And luckily enough with the time zones, we were able to swing it.
Yes, that's hard.
Yeah. So we definitely feel like we worked really well together, and it's kind of crazy. We wrote a book together while being on opposite coasts.
Right. Did you like have the manuscript kind of up on a screen share sort of thing?
Yeah, so we would do a lot of screen sharing and like Google Docs, and we use Canva for a lot of like the arrangement of the book. So we'd like share it, and I'd be like, okay, I'm looking at this. Like, do you see it on your screen? So a lot of like technology is so cool now that it could just be so
It
collaborative,
is.
and like you could be working on the same document at the same time from like anywhere in the world. So
Literally.
technology definitely helped this project.
And that's
But
what's so
also,
exciting. Yeah, go ahead.
in terms of the kids, the first time you shared the book with the class, it really wasn't a book. It was
Yes.
just a story on paper. And
So-
then we got drawings from a lot of the kids that inspired our illustrator to,
Okay.
to develop the stuff. So first we had pencil
Right.
drawings, and then more involved drawings, and then we had to fit the text on the page. All these things
Great.
that when you open a kid's book and you haven't written one before, you don't really know
There's
what
a
is
lot.
the
Yes.
process and where you're going to run into trouble.
Yeah.
Right. And so did you go with self-publishing?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, it's such technology. I absolutely love all the things we can do because of technology. I can have you on from 2 different coasts. I just interviewed last month someone from Transylvania. I can interview people from literally all over the world. So coming up in November, I will be talking to somebody from Bangkok. So that's pretty neat. And the reason I'm interested in how people co-write a book, because I've talked to a few other pairs of co-authors, and one of them was sisters-in-law, and they alternated who wrote which chapter. So it was more, you write this, I'll write that, and they just kind of kept trading off rather than writing the whole book together. And what I'm doing, I don't know if I have the book handy here. I co-authored a book called 221 BC with somebody who's married to, I keep calling her the little girl I used to babysit, but she's in her 40s now. And one day out of the blue, she said, why don't you ask Laura to help you? And she didn't even know I'd written books. And so what we do, he actually plays a D&D game and comes up with this story. At least that's how it started. And then he writes the story down, and then he sends it to me. I go through, I do a ton of research for anything I need to. I kind of flesh out scenes that needed more. I can see, there's sort of a chapter missing here to explain. So we work very differently. And it sounds like you two have a third way of doing it, and kind of getting together in person, because he mails me the manuscript hard copy.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
yeah. So it's interesting to hear all the different ways people work together. And then how did you find an illustrator?
So this is actually pretty cool. So Mark was, like, oh, do you know anybody who would illustrate this book? And I was asking around, and then I thought, wow, well, why don't I ask the art teacher that works at my school? So I approached her. I shared with her the story. We shared with her kind of like brief ideas for what we wanted the illustrations to look like. And she did a couple sketches, and we were like, wow, this is amazing. So she is our illustrator, which is super cool. And it's just so fun for me, especially to share the story with my students. 1, to say I helped write the book, and 2, to say our art teacher illustrated it. So there's a lot of like connections. And they've been so excited. Like I said, I started with literally just a piece of paper with our first draft, and the names were even different. So like everything, it was really, really different. So we've had a lot of different versions. And so it's just cool that they've kind of stuck by me. And then when we had the illustrations, I showed them that. Like, I still didn't have the book yet, but I was like, here's on the computer, here's what the illustrations look like. And so it's just cool to have them kind of with me every step of the process.
Did it inspire any of them to say, hey, I want to write a book too?
Not
that you can do
that
it.
I know of, but I hope so. I mean, so I actually, at the end of the year, we hadn't finalized and like officially published the book once school ended. So I didn't get an actual copy of the book until this coming year. And a few of my students from last year visited in the beginning of the year, and I said, look, like, this is the book. Remember, I read you this like a lot of times and you loved it. And like some of my kids were like, wow, this is amazing. So, I mean, I hope it'll inspire them to write a book. I think that would be really cool.
Right. That's so fantastic for kids to see. You can write a book. You know, they don't just kind of appear full blown, but there's a process. So which one of you is going to read today?
I'll read.
Okay, go ahead. Take center stage.
All right. Oops, sorry. All right, I have to turn off my background in order for it to work. It's funny because before I came on here, I had a crazy background. So let me just.
Or rainbow hair, or
I was in
space.
space. From last
We've
time.
done that for a couple of our Books and Brews episodes. We've had a couple where we've talked like about UFO abductions, or what was the other one? It was a sci-fi, and so we would put ourselves in a spaceship for that one.
Yeah, the backgrounds are so like I have so much fun with it, and the it's so fun.
I just have to say, one of the funniest videos I've ever seen online was a judge, and he had to show up for, official business, and his granddaughter had been, you seen this one? She had put on the cat thing, and so he showed up and it was still on, and he had no clue how to turn it off.
It's so funny.
There's this judge with these cat ears, and
I think I heard about that too.
I'm not a cat. I don't know how to turn it off.
It's so funny.
So technology, some terrible things about it, but so much fun. Go ahead.
All right. So this story also, do you want me to like pause and explain things like I would as a teacher, or just a quick read through?
I'll just read through it.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. So this story is called Milo's Superpower. Can you see it?
I can see it really well.
And this is written by Mark Perloe and Justine Perloe and illustrated by Debbie Nalaska. Would you like me to read the dedication or no?
Or if you want to.
Okay, sure. So it says, to Rocky and Hugo, two bright sparks who inspire us with their curiosity, surprise us with their creativity, challenge us to see the world anew, and teach us to find joy in the simplest things. May this book be a reminder that every day holds a treasure trove of wonders waiting to be discovered, and that the power to spread joy and make a difference lies within each of us. Just a smile can light up a room. Your presence illuminates the lives of those around you. Keep exploring, keep dreaming, and never stop spreading joy wherever you go. This story is for you, with love and appreciation for the magic you bring to our world. Milo was just a little boy. Okay, I gotta situate myself here.
Right.
Milo was just a little boy with a big smile and an even bigger heart. At just 4 years old, he had a gift that no one else in his family seemed to have: his superpower. His grandpa called it the power of joy. Milo didn't quite understand what that meant, but every time he smiled or made someone laugh, the world around him seemed to light up. Milo had an older brother named Oliver. Oliver was 7 and very clever, but like most kids, he often got frustrated when things didn't go his way. When Oliver got upset, he would stomp his feet or cross his arms and demand attention. And usually, he got it. Milo didn't mind too much. He loved Oliver and wanted him to be happy, but sometimes Milo felt invisible. One sunny afternoon, Grandpa took the boys to the park. While Oliver was busy climbing the tallest slide, Milo sat on the bench with Grandpa. Grandpa, Milo said softly, why does Oliver always get all the attention? Grandpa smiled and put an arm around Milo. Well, Oliver has a strong personality, but you, my boy, have something truly special. Milo tilted his head. What's that? Your smile, Grandpa said. It's your superpower. When you smile or make someone laugh, you spread happiness. That's a gift not everyone has. Milo thought about this as they walked over to the swings. he decided to test out his superpower. Oliver was at the top of the slide when he... did I skip a page? No. Oliver was at the top of the slide when he shouted down, "Milo, watch me! I'm going to jump off!" But as Oliver leapt, he landed in a pile of mud with a loud splat. His face turned red as other kids giggled. He felt embarrassed. Milo ran over and gave Oliver his biggest grin. "That was an awesome landing! You're like a superhero who fell into his secret hideout." Oliver blinked and then burst out laughing. "A muddy superhero? Yep," Milo said with a giggle. Soon even Grandpa was laughing. Later that day, back at home, Oliver got upset again when their mom said it was time to turn off the TV. He crossed his arms and sulked. Milo walked up to him and whispered, "Hey, Oliver, what if we pretend we're pirates and the TV is our treasure chest? We can guard it until tomorrow." Oliver tried to keep from frowning, but couldn't help smiling at Milo's silly idea. "Okay," he said, with a small laugh. From that day on, Milo used his superpower whenever he could. Whether it was helping Oliver calm down or making their parents laugh after a long day, Milo discovered that spreading joy made him feel just as special as any superhero. And Grandpa was right. Milo's superpower didn't just make others happy, it made him happy too. The end.
Very nice. So I have to ask, can you hold up the picture of Grandpa really closely? I couldn't tell if he had a beard and mustache. It looks like he doesn't.
Nope, he does.
Well,
he
it's
does.
interesting when
he
we
modeled
first got
after you?
some of the
Yes.
Okay.
when we first got the pictures back, some of the illustrations had the beard and mustache, and there were one or two where it was left off, and we had to say, "Do I have to shave now because I don't have that?" But
Right.
each of the and the title page, that's they're the kids' the kids' parents,
Yes.
and then there's my wife and I as the grandparents in it. So it's a family portrait.
That's really neat.
And
So
it's interesting. We have a dog, but the story has a cat in it. And I guess it's about 3 weeks ago they ended up getting cats. So now it's the picture is complete.
So life imitated art after art imitated life, but not perfectly. That's really neat. So do you still have the dog though?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so now you have a dog and a cat.
No,
so,
I don't have the cat. They have the cat
The kids,
They have
okay.
at their house. And
Yeah,
we have the dog here.
I was just telling Mark just before we started, our animals include 15 sheep. And I went out this morning and found a 16th one, little tiny thing.
Wow. So you live on a farm?
We do, yeah. And it was particularly exciting because last winter, one was born that looked exactly like the one that was born today. Doesn't look like any of the other sheep quite.
Interesting.
And that one, it's what we have is American black bellies and a St. Croix ram. And so the American black bellies are all shades of cream and dark brown and lighter brown. And the St. Croix is completely white. So this one last winter was born just completely cinnamon all over, but with a white face.
Wow. That's cool.
And it jumped in a water tank and it died and I couldn't save it. And so the one that was, it was really sad. It's the only one we've lost. But the one that was just born this morning looks exactly like it. So I kind of feel like I got that one back. So
another chance.
Those are our animals. We do have a dog, but he's an outdoor dog. And I used to have cats. I always loved cats, but we ended up with too many. Long story. a cat gave birth to 6 kittens, and I kind of got catted out. Like, even for me,
That's
having
a
9
lot.
cats in the house,
Wow.
kind of put me over the edge. And I said, I'm going to take a break from cats for a little bit. So, that's fantastic. And did it help that you have a whole school that all the parents wanted to run out and buy what their art teacher and second grade teacher wrote?
Well, I haven't quite pitched it to my school yet, but that will be in the future, definitely, for sure.
Mm-hmm. How long has
And I
it been
took
out?
it.
Yeah.
It's only been out actually for what, 4 months maybe?
Okay.
July was
Oh,
the
yeah,
publication
pretty
date on
recent,
the
pretty recent.
paperback, and in May, I
Mhm.
think, is when we released the ebook.
Mhm.
Okay. So congratulations. Now, have
Thank
you
you.
ever heard the phrase, happiness is a moral obligation?
No.
No? That's it's something Dennis Prager says a lot, and I think he might even have a book called that. And it's kind of the same principle, what you're talking about in your book, that spreading joy is important. And, you know, you're trying to teach kids that. So I just wondered if you had any sort of prior knowledge of that you built this book on, or you just
No, it's
inherently
really,
know.
you watch the kids and they know what to do. And
Mhm.
it's often
Mhm.
as they get older that silliness goes away.
Mhm.
I was actually listening to a podcast yesterday that I thought was quite interesting. And it was talking about a discussion from Jonathan Haidt, where he talks about the anxious generation, where
Mhm.
our kids now are more into screens than they are into playing. And what this podcast discussed was that creative play in youth is kind of a precursor to being a creative artist or pianist
Mhm.
or musician or writer. That if our kids don't play and they don't have that free spirit, then we may be blunting the creativity that we want to see in our society overall. When Rocky got into this, when obviously both kids were proud, the
Mhm.
older
I bet.
one loved going to the book fairs and showing people the book and telling the story.
Yeah, he
And we
even
went
read it.
to you could tell them about the opening at the
So
bookstore.
over the summer I visited, and so we went to a bookstore and I read to some kids, and we had a table, we had tattoos, coloring pages. It was really,
Mhm.
really fun. And so the older one, he was so like, he loved it. He was like, oh my gosh, like, Justine, will you come? Can we find some kids? Can I read it? I'm like, of course.
Mhm.
And he was so proud. He was like, yeah, and Oliver is 7. That's me. Like, it was just so cute. He was so excited about it.
Mhm.
And so that was really, really awesome to see.
That's
And then
neat. My twins were, oh gosh, I can't remember how old were they. And they were 7 in 2009 when I published my first book. And my one, Connor especially, was so enthusiastic. And so we went into this restaurant with sort of a gift store. And here he is, 7, maybe 8 years old. And he marches up to the waitress and says, my mom's book should be in your store.
oh, that's
So
great.
I walked out of there, sold them 3 books, walked out of there with $30. And
Wow.
yeah, and then I would, when he was 16, I took him to the Amelia Island Book Festival in Florida.
Mhm.
And he would kind of walk around and talk to everyone about his mom's books and be my little salesman.
Sweet.
So, and then just like you did with your grandson, that event spawned a book of my own, although it's not a children's book. It spawned a whole set of mystery novels that I'm going to have a lot of fun when I finally get them finished. I've got 5 started. So anyway, what's next? Will you make a series out of this or start a
Well,
different book?
we do have some other text and various drafts along the way.
Mhm.
One is how the kids learn from the dog about friendship, what it means to be a friend. The other one is about superpowers. And this one is also based on a true story where Rocky's in the park and Grandma and I are there with him, and he's running around playing with this kid. And then he comes up to us and in a hushed voice says, points, that boy doesn't have any superpowers. And
no.
we explained to him about Superman wanting to keep it secret, that not everybody wants to share their story, or maybe he hasn't discovered his superpower, because everybody has some superpower, and maybe as a good friend you could help him. So that kind of is out there going around. When I did this, I mean, a lot of people approach writing as something that they're going to earn money or a living doing. I'm at the stage where I don't need to make a living doing this. And the return that I've gotten from the kids is more than what I could hope to earn in another fashion. So I'm not sure. It's a big investment in time and money. And if I had the time where I was investing in this and building a career, then I could turn it into a series of different books. There's another one about Passover, where a friend of mine was complaining that she found out that 2 days before the traditional Seder, the person who was going to host 30 people got sick and couldn't do it, and it would fall upon her to do this. And this, again, was a true story, and the person is upset and like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? This is horrible. And then it goes into the fantasy where Milo, part of the Seder tradition, is as the youngest asks 4 questions that lead to telling the story of the Passover event. And in this story, he comes up with asking her why it's so horrible and why the Seder is ruined. And then he comes up with solutions so everything is made whole again and happy.
That sounds like a wonderful book.
Well, I mean, I think that they're good stories and they'd be fun to tell. I'm not sure how to most efficiently do this. And as a retiree, you know, I would like to earn back what we've invested in this project.
Yes.
Before I take on.
And that's the big conundrum for every author, I think.
Absolutely.
And yeah, and the wonder of the self-publishing is it allows so many people to put a book out there without the gatekeepers. And the reason I went with self-publishing is because, number one, I was hearing, you know, it's going to take you 2-3 years just to find an agent, then it's going to take another few years for them to find a publisher, then it's going to take another year for the book to actually be published. And I'm like, I'm going to be dead by the time it gets published. And then at the same time, I had a friend in my writers group who was saying traditional publishers are now expecting you, the author, to do most of the marketing, and they're going to take most of the royalties. So why, you know, self-publish and get all the royalties? And but another reason I went with self-publishing was my books are neither Christian fiction nor secular fiction. And what I mean by that, hopefully Christian fiction has gotten better, but it seemed to me any Christian fiction I read, people went, they said the Jesus prayer, whatever it is, I accept the Lord Jesus, and all of a sudden their life is perfect and they're virtuous. And I'm like, that's not really realistic. It's not that easy to get rid of our vices and grow in virtue. But on the other hand, secular books, they never think about God. And I'm like, everybody thinks about God. Atheists think about God. Agnostics, everybody. And so I thought that my book wasn't going to fit into either one of those worlds, that it was going to be too Christian for one and too secular for the other, because he's horrible. He's off, cheating on his girlfriend and gambling and drinking and all these awful things to begin with. But I am curious about your reasons for going with self-publishing.
Well, again, as you said, the time, and we condensed that compared to what most people are doing on self-publishing. I think one of the concerns was that as soon as you go out in the world and try to discover this, you are inundated with people who are going to get you number one on every book list. They're going to edit it. You won't have to do anything. Just send them $199 or $499 or $1,099. I had used one consultant to assist in the format of the hardback cover, and the fellow had no idea what he was doing, and it was really kind of fortunate, and it made me go out. And this is the kind of stuff I like doing, is figuring out, how do you do this stuff? What are the options? What is the time frame? How do you get reviews? How do you do them? What do you need to do? And so the figuring it out for me was as enjoyable. I did a reading at Milo or Rocky's nursery school, and there were maybe 20 small children. At that point, I think he was 3 still. And it was great. The kids were jumping up and down. The contribution, I don't know if you've experienced that, Justine, where as you're reading it, they're going to stop and wait.
Oh my gosh, my kids, like the moment I start the book, they're like, oh my gosh, read more. That's it for today, please, one more chapter, like all the time. And it's so worth it. It's so heartwarming, and it's just enjoyable. I'm like, if I could read all day to kids, I would. Like, and they love it. They crave it.
And reading is so good for them. You bring me back to when I was doing my student teaching, when I was getting my master's degree, and I was teaching at this huge middle school, and the guy who kind of was my mentor teacher, whose classroom I worked in, he said when he was first teaching, he's like, I hated the kids hated me. He ended up reading to them half the day, and he said they loved it. And so he's like, you have my permission. It puts you on a really good wavelength with the kids, because they love. Yeah. And so they would come racing back from lunch, and he really encouraged me, just, have fun with the kids, and then you're all in a better place for teaching and learning. So he encouraged me to bring my saxophone and play for them. Wow. And then I would spend the first 10, 15 minutes after lunch reading novels to them, and we'd read a chapter or 2 each day. And then they were happy to do the classwork. So
my kids, my students love. I read at least maybe like 10 or 12 chapter books throughout the year, and 1 chapter every day after lunch. And that's like our routine, and they love it so much. I love it too. It's just a special time for everybody.
One of the things in putting this together that I think was unique, when you start to see some of the other stuff that's out there, you get the impression that the parent has a message that they want to instill, whether it's religion, whether it's moral, whatever it is that they're pressing down. The thing that I really like about this, and I think this came through in Justine's reading to her class and my reading to the nursery school, was that I think it's a book where they can see themselves in it and feel part of the story. It's not like someone is pushing a story on them. It's like, it's their story too. It's something that anybody who has a brother or sister has had to deal with. They get more attention, or I'm not getting a fair deal. Yes. And I think there's room in the story for them to get involved.
Yes, actually, when this story to my students this year. I was like, okay, Oliver is 7. They're like, oh my gosh, I'm 7. And they like freaked out. And like that sold them. They were like, oh my gosh, it's about a 7-year-old. That's how old I am. Like, it was so funny.
Well,
So.
I'll have to get a copy of your book, and I do a program. I've done only like 3 or 4 of them, but I call it Reading with Sheep. And we go out and we sit with the sheep. We sprinkle food all around my feet so they'll stay near me, and I read them a book.
That's amazing. Yeah, I've actually
and then I send a copy of the book to my grandchildren so that they can see me read it with the sheep. I don't know if they've ever watched them. One of them has like 25 views on it, I think. So somebody's watching it. But,
well, send me your address, and we'll send you a copy, because I know we are real big in the sheep world.
In the sheep world?
Yes, yeah, we have a big following. I do pet therapy.
I
3
saw
days a week.
Crinkles the Bold. I saw her on her computer hitting follow on your page.
Okay, good.
She tried to close it and hide it, but I saw her.
Well, Milo's on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and
every other platform.
Yeah, Instagram. So he's out there. But
I wanted to mention to our viewers to go on over to your page. I forget what the page is called, resources maybe, where you have a list of sort of activities that could stem from this book. Right. And so you have the Smile Power experiment. Do you want to tell our audience about that?
Sure. So this is a really cool one that, again, I've actually done in my class, and they like think it's the coolest thing. It's really just that you smile, and then everyone around you smiles, and that's it. It's so simple. And that just shows that just smiling at somebody, like in the morning, saying good morning, just a nod, making eye contact is just so powerful and can really like make a difference in someone's day, especially because you never know what baggage people are carrying, and a smile is a small way to make a difference.
And that kind of struck me, because when I was going through a really bad time in my life, and to the point where you have to start doing something to pull yourself out of this. Well, doing something for someone else, that's one of the most powerful ways you can make yourself feel better. And at that point in my life, it's like, well, okay, I can smile at the clerk. I can't do much. I'm in such a bad place, but I can do that.
Yeah.
And it really does make a difference. And it kind of reminded me years ago, my cousin and I, we were still 12, 13. We did the wave experiment. So we waved at people in every car we passed just to see their reaction. But we did it scientifically. We took down their license plate, what state they were from, so we could figure out which state had the friendliest people.
Fun.
Yeah.
And is that why you're in Tennessee?
Yes. No, we're in Tennessee because the taxes are friendliest here. We actually left Minnesota largely because they increased our taxes by 50% in one fell swoop. And we're like, not sure where the money is coming from. So now you get nothing. So
come to California. We have the highest taxes. And
Minnesota's working hard to catch up.
But Minnesota did a good job in parks, and we had wonderful after-school programs for the kids when we were there. So yes, it was high, but I felt we were, at least back, this was in the late 80s, we were getting what we were paying for. Where in California, I have my doubts.
Not so sure. I was in school in the mid to late 80s, and I did have an excellent school. So there was that, and that was in the Twin Cities, Osseo High School. So, but one thing I really like about this book is that you are teaching kids to think of other people and to bring them some happiness instead of going, man, he's really bugging me. And I'll just kind of leave this before I ask you where people can find you. How much joy lasts? I mean, something that you do today, somebody might still be smiling about 40 years from now, 50 years from now. And
Absolutely.
it made me think, this was also with my cousin Suzanne. They came to visit us. I grew up in the military, so we lived in DC at the time, Fairfax, technically, Virginia. But my cousins came to visit us, and that was in the days when you could sit in the back of the station wagon without seatbelts. And so we sat in the back of the station wagon, and we would wave at the drivers behind us. And I don't know if we had Tinker Toys or just did air horns, but we would be playing our, playing our orchestra for them from the back and looking at them. And we had this one woman, she had really long hair, and she held it up and started playing the violin on her hair. And as I was looking at your site, that just came back to me, and I thought, my gosh, that's got to be 40, 45 years ago. And I still smile thinking about that, because she was just friendly to a bunch of kids goofing off and being silly in the back seat. And so it's so important to think about other people and do something to make them happy. And it's wonderful to see a book about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So where can people find you online?
So our Instagram is at Milo Superpower. Our TikTok is also at Milo Superpower. So Milo's the S at the end, and then Superpower, so a double S. Okay. And our website is www.milosuperpower.com. All pretty similar. And the YouTube is also Milo Superpower.
Fantastic. And readers can find me at lauravosica.com. They can find Books and Brews at booksandbrews.net, in addition to the YouTube channel here. They can find our sponsor, Gabriel's Horn Press, at gabrielshornpress.com. And you can find all our wonderful sheep. And I just realized I have to add the dogs and chickens and rabbits to our webpage at glenmerrillfarms.wordpress.com. So thank you for being on the program. Cheers.